Alright guys, so we're back. Today we're going to do the 12 mil bolt upgrade on the Wildcat 1000. It's going to be the same procedure, same deal as all the other Wildcat 1000s from 12 to 16. They haven't changed anything in that time span, so that's what we're going to do today. One of the major things that fails on these bikes are the fact that the 12 mil or the factory 10 mil wheel studs shear. What'll happen is under load, under pressure, these smaller wheel studs will let go, break off. You'll end up losing a wheel, and there's a whole lot of garbage, a whole lot of trouble that comes with that. As I did in the other video, the previous video, we did the Textron rear axle upgrade on this bike. So what we're going to do here today is the back has already got the 12 mil upgrade. It's just sitting there for now, but that's the 12 mil wheel stud on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to change over all the wheel spacers. We're going to change over all the wheel spacers on the machine to 12 mil, as well as the original hubs. So right there is the factory. I'll just set that, get that to focus. So right there is a factory wheel stud. I didn't get the kit from, you can buy a kit from like Awesome Off-Road or I think sidebyside-parts.com. There's quite a few websites that do offer the wheel kit upgrade. What it's going to do is it's going to provide you with some wheel studs, nuts, and then likely a drill bit to drill out this guy here. But what I'll do is, just for view's sake, so that is a factory 10mm wheel stud. This is the replacement 12mm wheel stud. Way bigger, significantly meatier. It's going to be all around stronger. So that's what we're going to do today. I did initially say in the last video that we were going to do the front differential rebuild. I'm not going to do it in this video. I've got a ride that I'm going to go on tomorrow. My diff is leaking a little bit of fluid. It's not that big of a deal, so it can wait for a small ride. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna knock these out. I'll lift it up. I'll show a couple different routes to go. A lot of guys say that you need a press to do it. We're not gonna do it with a press. It's simple enough. You can do it with a air hammer. If you don't have an air hammer, not a big deal. Give her a smack with one of these, be good to go. Alright, so like the last one, walk over to your 2-point hoist. If you don't have one, I recommend get one. If you don't have the space or you can't do it, floor jacks is easy enough. Just jack it up on a couple pieces of wood and pop your tires off. You don't have to be really high in the air. So first things first, what we got to do in order to get at the wheel studs in order to do the upgrade is we're going to have to take the tire off. This machine here, like I said before, I've got wheel spacers, I've got all that kind of good stuff on it already. So it is a 3/4 inch socket to knock these off. Regularly, if it is a stock machine, if you haven't done any upgrades to it, all you're going to need is 11/16. Put it on your impact or put it on your socket. You can knock them off. Get the wheel out of the way. Okay, so like I said, this does have wheel spacers on it. Essentially, it's basically doubling our workload. It's the same procedure, the same thing. We are going to have to take them off, going to have to knock these studs out, put new studs in, drill them out, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to try and do, in the sake of this being on a hub that, well, it's a lot more stable, I'm going to do it right on here, going to get these all loose, then I'm going to take the spacer out, we'll drill them, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah, you can. Everyone says that you need a press to do it. You do not need a press to do it. And on this model Wildcat, this is a 13.5 limited. You don't need to take off the front hub. I think the older designs, I think the 12 or the 13, you do need to take off the front hub. The newer design does have it allotted a slot for the studs to come out. I may be mistaken, but I'm almost positive that the older designs do have to come off. So, like I say, you do not need a press to get this off. You just got to give her a good solid whack, just like that. This is the spacer. It's not the hub itself. These are going to come out a little bit easier, but like I say, just wanted to do it with them on there. Just the fact that I'm not having to deal with something that's laying on the ground, try and knock it off that way. So now that we got those loose, we'll take our spacer off. 11/16, not a 3/4 inch. I'm using the factory wheel studs on the inside, so we got to put 11/16 on it. I got the wheel studs out, the OE wheel studs. Just do a little bit of a comparison of them here. So that right there, that's the difference. A lot thicker shank, a lot bigger diameter, well 2 mils bigger to be exact. Yeah, and the shear strength, the shear load is greatly improved on these new studs compared to the originals. So definitely a worthwhile upgrade. Once you put them on, you don't have to worry about you hitting a rock and you breaking off your wheel studs and ruining a good day riding. So makes all the difference. So yeah, what we're going to do here now, I'm going to put the original lug nuts, or I'll put a couple back on the machine. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill out the spacer on the machine. Same thing with trying to knock them out, not having to worry about anything twisting it on the ground. So we'll get these started back, we'll put them back on. If you don't have a spacer, just omit this step. It's not a big deal. Drill bit. I haven't tested this on the hub itself yet. I pre-drilled one on the one of my original spacers. I ended up going with a 9/16 drill bit, just one size larger than a 1/2 inch. I think that the kits offer you a 15/32 for your hubs. Not 100% sure on that. I think it's a 15/32. When I was lining everything up and when I was looking at it, it looked like to me the 15/32 was too small. So we'll see once I get to the hub. I'm going to try it on a test hub first, obviously, before I run the bigger one in. But I'm using a large drill bit from what I've seen that comes with the replacement kits. So yeah, we'll see what happens when we get to the hub. But so yeah, just make sure when you go to drill into it, you're straight onto the hub. You're not off on camber, that sort of thing. Just make sure that you're straight on it. You're gonna want that stud to go in nice and true. If you take a little bit of time, make sure you drill slow. Don't try and ram it in. Make sure it's straight. It's gonna make the process a lot easier for you, and you're not gonna mess up screwing up your hub adapter. just before that we do that, I'm going to lift the machine up a little bit higher so we can get a little bit closer view for you guys. Up a little bit higher. Like I say, make sure it's good and straight on. You don't want to be on an angle. You don't want to drill it out crooked. Make sure, just take your time, nice and straight, go nice and slow. Wanting to turn on me, so grab bar. Me a bit, trying to drill it out. So all I did, I'm just taking an extension. I'm going to put it through the brake rotor and the spindle. There we go. First day with words. Yeah, just an extension, just something to keep it from turning. Just a little bit more force. I don't have anyone here to hold the brake for me, so that's what we're doing here now. Alright, now that I got the machine lifted up a little bit higher and I've got our extension, you can use really anything that you want to get in there. I'm going to start pre-drilling these holes. One thing that you want to be very careful of is, like I say, keep your drill bit straight, your drill straight. You don't want it up, you don't want it down, you don't want it side, you don't want the other side. Take your time. This is a very important process, a very important step. If you screw this up, there's really no coming back from it. So, like I say, take your time, be diligent with it. Go. That's one. Aluminum's very soft, so it's easy for it to grab and pull. Got to take your time, not get flustered. Wheel spacer's done. Time to put in some new studs, and then we'll tackle the hub. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to take the hub or the spacer back off, just because we won't be able to get the stud in from behind with it like that. Alright, so now that we've got the spacer drilled out, it's time to put in the new upgraded studs. What I'm going to want to do, I've got just a hammer and an extension here. You can use a punch. I don't want to find one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stud and set it into the spacer, just in where it's supposed to go. And the reason being that I'm going to use the factory studs, not an extension, the factory studs, is the stud head is obviously the perfect size to fit into this space. And when I just give it a smack, I'm not going to try and pound it all the way in. What I want to do is when I set it in, I want these teeth on the upgraded stud to bite into the aluminum just a bit, not a lot. I don't need it all the way in. Like I say, I just need a little bit, so when we go to start it, when we go to impact our new lug nuts on and pull the stud all the way down into the housing, the teeth are going to grab it and not make it spin. So like I say, we're not going to pound it all the way in. We just need to get it started. Grab another one. Perfect. Don't smack your fingers. Set it back on. Grab a 3/4 inch. Yeah, so washer on there. I got a fairly thick one. You don't necessarily need, I don't think you necessarily need one. And yeah, and we're just gonna snug it up, make sure it's centered. $12mm upgrade on my wheel spacers done, and made myself a custom little press tool in the process. That's pretty sweet. So yeah, now on to the, for fun's sake, do a little bit different. Those ones there I smacked out with a hammer, which you can do. We'll see if we can give this guy a whack. So hammer works. You do not need a press like everyone says. You can use, we'll see which way is easier, big hammer or an air chisel. Nope. Doesn't seem like the air chisel's doing the job it should. See if the hammer's a better alternative. Hammer. For argument's sake, we'll say the chisel loosened them, but let's get yourself a BFR, a big, you know, BFH, big, yeah, BFH. That's it, that's all you need. Simple. So before we go, alright, so I took one of the factory wheel studs out of the other one just to have a look, and all my other comparisons were of the my wheel spacer studs. So this is a wheel spacer stud. This is my upgraded stud. Now, I don't know, I assumed they were all the same, not thinking that they are a spacer. So this is the factory stud. This is the upgraded stud. Big difference. Big difference. So I'm assuming I'm actually going to have to go with my 9/16 drill bit, just because of the fact that this is massively different than the other one. I think probably some of the kits, the shank size is that right here. So that's what you would do a 15/32, which makes sense, but this steps up one more. So I'm gonna do a test anyway, but I'm pretty sure 9/16 for me in this application is the way to go. If you buy the kit from Awesome Off-Road or Side by Side Sports or anywhere else, it provides you with a drill bit. Use that drill bit. They've figured it out. They sell a kit for a reason. They're selling you studs with that drill bit size for a reason. I'm not buying a kit. I haven't used the kit. I'm just sourcing my own parts and going that way. All right, so upon review of me drilling out my my spare and having a look to see exactly what's gonna be happening there, I'm gonna go ahead with the 9/16. There's, in my opinion, there's no way my studs will fit a 15/32, so I'm not concerned. There's a lot of meat here. This is a very hardy hub for what we're taking out. Everything's gonna be fine, so we'll drill it out. Same as the spacers, same as everything else. Be very careful, keep it straight, take your time. Like I say, just take your time. Here we go. That's not too bad. Now it's just a matter of us popping some new studs in. Alright, so I forgot to have the camera running, but got one stud in, got the other one set in here, like everything, like we just did earlier. Everything's drilled out, everything's ready to go. So get your impact. What I did is I've got that lock, that an existing washer, a bigger washer, and then an even larger one, just because the fact that the other studs the housing was getting damaged, the space was getting damaged. So yeah, got them set in, got everything cleaned up, and yeah, we're just pulling them in now. Just getting one more washer because I'd countersunk that one. Is now sunk in as deep as it can go. It's now part of it, so a little bit more space, just for the sake of not messing anything up. All drilled out, studs in, everything's cranked down. We're gonna go ahead and grab our spacers, get those set into place, hammer those on. We can put the tire back on, and yeah, there we go. We're done with this side. So that's not that bad of a job. I basically did half the machine just on this one wheel. So I hope that was informative enough for you guys looking to do this upgrade here. There we go, done deal. Like I say, pretty simple. I think if you have a little bit of mechanical know-how, take your time. I think really anyone can do this job. So cheers, till next time.